definition of a hoe is a female or male, who decides to sleep with multiple partners, irregardless of their interest as far as sex. They just do it just to do it, not because they may be freaks or anything like that.
I think a hoe is somebody who just has no regard for herself and no respect for herself.
If your decisions exude, I had sex because I wanted to, it's fine. It's the I had sex because I wanted to for this reason that makes a girl a hoe. If you had sex because you wanted to, because you've been crushing on this guy for some time, do your thing. But if you had sex because you wanted to, because this guy is popular, this guy is Greek, this guy has money, this guy just swagful as fuck. Well, if he's swagful as fuck, then maybe you've been crushing him. But you know what I'm talking about? It's the reasons.
Alright, so the question is, I guess, what do I think is a hoe? And I guess what makes a hoe, and what I see, I guess would I be able to identify one just seeing them from walking down the street? And I guess, like, what do I define as a hoe? I think that there is no such thing as a hoe. I think that that's something that's created by society. I believe that we created that from our male patriarchal society, in which we just kind of like label people a certain way according to what we believe, because at the end of the day, as many people already believe, there is a double standard. A man can go out and sleep with multiple women, and he's not labeled as misogynist, he's not labeled as a hoe, he's not labeled as like anything, actually. He's actually more of a man.
Would you rather have a lock that can be opened by any key? It's the same thing. Would you rather have a key that can open any lock? Or would you rather have a lock that can be opened by any key? In the case where the lock is the female and the key is the male. Male respected because it's like, oh, she can get to any female. But the female is not respected because it's like, well, any male can get to you.
When it comes to boys, I do think that there is a double standard, and I think, like, you know, some people think, oh, it's cool for boys to do that or it's not a problem. I personally think a hoe is a hoe, and if you're a boy and you're doing the same things that we just said a girl does that makes her a hoe, then you're a hoe too. So.
Now here's where in lies the collusion, right? So, as a girl, the amount of bodies that's okay for a girl to have is way different for the amount of bodies that's okay for a man to have. That's the double standard. Y'all gotta live with it. The same way y'all can hit it, but we can't hit you back. That's a double standard. And we live with that.
I mean, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with it. A double standard does exist, and a double standard existing in the fact that men are allowed to do it without as much discouragement. For example, and it's not even just with adults, it's with children. Like if a young male gets attention from a few ladies in his class, he gets a lot more attention. It's sort of seen as a positive thing. All little Johnny's getting little cute little girls on the side. Whereas on the other hand, if you have a young girl, she's in school and she has, you know, 4 or 5 guys who like her, you know, you want to be sure to control that, calm that down for various reasons though. One, I think more so than anything, guys have a tendency to take advantage of women more than women have a tendency to take advantage of men.
Real talk, like a hoe is not just a woman. It's a person who has loose morals, who doesn't really stand by anything, and just wants to just bang 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 everything.
I guess when people talk about liberation, they're talking about a choice to, you know, make that decision without a negative label like that. And, you know, when you think about when people say the word hoe, they're thinking automatically that it's negative. So they're automatically labeling you something that you may not feel that you are.
In my opinion, it's a certain amount of time that you should be with a person prior to having sexual intercourse. And I don't feel as though you should, I don't know, you shouldn't just jump into something. So, how can I say this? I don't know, it's
like without reserve.
Yeah, you can't just go into it.
I think it's just basically the fact that you as a person let people know, hey, I will respect you and you will respect me, but in the same sense, I will get to know you on a level to where I can trust you with me giving myself to you.
Yeah.
That I think is sexual liberation because, you know, you're not trying to be tied down to one person, but at the same time, you know, you're not just being completely loose about it with, you know,
and like you have a sense of respect for yourself, and you make sure that you
get that respect.
Right.
I feel like that's the liberation point
Right.
part. When it's
Whereas
like,
if you're a
it's
hoe,
like
it's
your
like-
choice, and like I mean, well, either way, it's your choice. But like, yeah, like you said, like we can just it's a thing of respect more.
See, there's a difference. I think a girl who is considered a hoe, her mentality is completely different from a girl who has a lot of like partners. Because having a lot of partners doesn't necessarily mean you're a hoe, and being a hoe doesn't necessarily mean you have a lot of partners. It means that where your mindset is at, you have no sense of self, and you're trying to find yourself in sex. So you can have a lot of sex with somebody and not be a hoe, but at the same time, you know what I'm saying? That's generally what it is. A lot of people try to find themselves, oh yeah, it's cool to be doing all this, that, and the other. I mean, you gotta, you know, change people. It's dudes too. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody, if you're just putting yourself out there with no remorse for yourself, that's really what's a hoe.
Not for her own sake. If she's just really in touch with her freaky side and she just wants to have sex for her own pleasure, then more power to her. Just make sure she uses protection.
There's some surprises out there. There are. So no, you can't just point a hoe out.
For girls, hoes comes more so in like appearance and like rumors. So like
That's nice. That's true.
that's definitely no. Cause when you think about girls be like, she nasty, she a hoe, she got her coo busted, her skirt's too short. Oh, she's a hoe, she's nasty. Now
But
she
not
may
really
girls may not know anything about this person.
Just say it.
They see her, and because in their mind, what they appear to be a hoe in their mind, she's a hoe.
I mean, I feel like girls do that a lot. They'll just be like, oh, she's based on how she
Especially the
looks.
way she's dressed, you know, like we do that as like, you know, a stereotypical thing. Oh,
Right.
you know, she's dressed in this skimpy skirt and this, you know, like just showing with her bra out and, you know, just things like that. Oh, okay, she must be a hoe, or she must be this, she must be that. Oh, she knows a lot of guys. You know, she's saying hi to everybody.
Right.
She must get around. But in reality, you know, depending on yourself, you may just want to dress that way because
Right.
you like your body and
Right.
you want to show it off. I mean, it really just depends on, you know,
I feel like
yourself.
you should only really make that judgment or that type of statement if you like actually know
Know the
something,
person,
know
yeah,
the
you
person,
know-
or, yeah.
right, and even
then,
then-
yeah, even then you don't know for sure because you're not
Right.
with that person
And you don't know
on
what
their
people deal
sexual
with.
encounters.
Depending on how she's dressed, how she's walking, how she's interacting, she fits the mold, the shoe fits, walk.
I wouldn't want to, but I wouldn't want to. No, I wouldn't. I couldn't. Because once a hoe, always a hoe. That's not a double standard.
You can't turn no hoe into a housewife.
Obviously, men
Turn no
are
hoe into a housewife.
men are promiscuous because right now, like, well, not right now. Some of them, maturity wise, they're not on the level to be committed with one person. So why not be promiscuous? I feel like that's how men are. And eventually, 10 years from now, if he is mature enough, I would marry a nigga that I knew was a hoe.
No, I wouldn't. Is that a serious question? Like, I couldn't do that. Like, when you think about it, you don't want somebody who's like, all right, being a garden tool. Should I say? Okay, like being out there and being loose. There's so many different things that come with that. Like, I don't want to risk being like, how do I say this correctly? I don't want to catch anything. That's one. That's two. And I feel like if you're a girl, you don't want to be with a dude who's a like.
Does that make her a housewife once she
No, that's a dog. If you put a penguin in a skirt, does it make it a girl? Nah, it's a penguin in a skirt. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No,
just
that's true. You can. It's
and the thing with
perfectly
the thing about these hoes, like
It's
they think that they can escape their past.
You
Hoes,
don't,
like
but
that's
at
the
the
problem.
same
Like
time-
with
but
a
at the same
girl,
time, it's
if you were once a hoe, you cannot be a reformed hoe. You're just a hoe that's like has a boyfriend. So it's not like, oh, she's a good girl now. Like, no, that's a girl who's a hoe with a boyfriend who's just teased.
Okay.
I mean, it depends.
I would never be able to fully trust her, but yeah, because we're humans, we're habits. We're creatures of habit. We're creatures of habits. So I mean, if that habit is too strengthened before I got with you, I'm probably not gonna put a ring on your finger after some years. I mean, but everybody's fair game.